Well, in the counseling world and inside the psychological world, we do talk about triggers, things that will trigger us. And I want to ask you today, do you have issues in your life, or do you have things in your life that trigger you? And up under that triggering, are you giving it ammunition? You know, if there's no ammunition there, what good's the trigger? Be careful of the ammunition that's up under there. Sometimes we have to go deep. We have to deal with root issues so that we become unfazed and we're not triggered. I want to give you a prime example. Here's a prime example. When I was 9 years old, I was in a horrible car accident. I was thrown from the windshield. We don't wear seatbelts back then. I know I'm giving my age away, but I was thrown from the car. My head went through the windshield, and I was left with brain damage, and I'm partially blind in one eye, left with a lot of problems. Well, the day we had that car accident, it was pouring down rain. It was pouring down rain. And so for years and years and years and years and years, I really suffered with the anxiety. Rain and driving triggered me to no end. Absolutely triggered me to no end. And it was so bad that I had to check the weather report. I had to make sure that, and then I needed to know the degree of the rain. It really controlled a lot of my life. And then one day I woke up and I had missed a really important event in my life because of the rain and driving in the rain. And I decided that I was going to take that ammunition away, that I was no longer going to be triggered by the rain. And so what I did was I waited until there was a storm, and I got in my car and I drove through it. I drove around for like an hour or two, came back home. The next time it stormed, I got back out and did it again. And it was very difficult for me to do that. But here's my point. I decided that I was going to take that ammunition away. Just out of just robbing myself and just having an inordinate amount of pain psychologically, I decided I was going to face that fear. So I'm going to ask you today, what triggers you today? Is it weather? Is it a relationship? Is it a memory? I want you to face that fear today. Get out and face that fear. Begin to work on facing that fear. And I want to tell you, a lot of times, if it is a deep-seated fear or a deep-seated trigger point, a one-shot deal is not going to do it. You're going to have to repeat your exercises to get through it. So that's just a little story from my archives that I thought that I would share, because I'm just like you. I'm just like anybody else. I struggle with the same anxieties that anybody else does. It's just I've learned to try and face some of those fears head on. I'm Dr. Lou Sebastian, mental health therapist.